So
Hi.
Lisa actually has a bachelor's, master's, and PhD in engineering, all from MIT.
I spend a lot of time in school.
So, and when you find something you like, you stick with it, huh?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, so 5 years ago, you became the CEO of AMD, and the company was in a very different spot back then, declining share price and kind of struggling to find its place in a market that's really dominated by very few, very large players. And today, you're one of the best performing stocks in the S&P 500. So give us a quick glimpse into the keys of the turnaround at AMD.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having me. It's really an honor to be here. And AMD is a company that's been around for 50 years, but we've never quite hit our stride. And 5 years ago, this was an opportunity for me. It was actually my dream job to run a semiconductor company. And many people would say, well, why would you want to do that?
It's what every little girl wants.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's the idea that you can make something. You can build products, you can put it on a shelf, and somebody will buy it and will know that it's yours. And the key for us was really, it's an industry where you have to make bets over the long term. So the bets sometimes take 3 years to pay off, sometimes take 5 years to pay off. And Wall Street is very fickle and hard to keep the attention span. But I think we really focused. We decided, hey, we were going to focus on great products, and it was going to take us 3 years to get the next products out. And we had to be very, very clear on what we were not going to do, which is sort of change our strategy.
And that focus, which you talk about, you're focusing on certain products means you're not focusing on others, and that's not just a product decision; it's a personnel decision and has impact. How did you get everybody in line with that renewed focus?
Extreme communication, extreme communication in terms of. I think, this morning it was discussed, like you say something like 75 times and then you have to say it like another 75. But it was very much around, we are about our products, we are about our customers, and we are about simplifying everything that we do so that everyone in the company is clear on what our strategy is.
And for those of us who are not in the semiconductor industry, just give a sense of what those areas are that you chose to focus on.
So we are focused on products that are really for high performance computing. So the idea that we're all about how we get more efficient. Data centers are a large piece of things that are going to grow in the future, and our focus is on building really powerful computers.
Okay, you have new.
That means we don't do small things.
Right.
So like we're not
like
in
what?
your phone. But we might be in your PC, and we might be in your data center that is, powering your cloud.
And because of that, you have a host of new customers that didn't exist for AMD before you took over. So talk a little bit about that. I mean, Amazon's AWS, Oracle, Twitter. What do you do for them?
Yeah, what was really important to me when I took over as CEO was how did we have, sort of large brands associated with what we do? Because, my feeling was if we can get the most marquee customers using AMD products, and that was, validation. So, for example, we're powering some of Google's data centers today. So if you're running some applications on Google, you may be running on AMD. And we're working with Twitter. I'm a big Twitter fan. I don't know how many of you are, but that's one of the things that
it's
that I appreciate.
It's a double-edged sword.
Well, once in a while, yes. We're in Microsoft's new Surface laptop, and those are marquee brands where relationships were really built over many years to get there.
And I think everybody in this room has to make bets towards the future, but in your business, it's way towards the future. And so what's the process of making those bets? Who do you have around you that's helping you to make those decisions that this is the next big market for our products?
What's really important in our world is really getting close to the people who are doing the engineering. So I'm an engineer at heart, and I actually spend quite a bit of time with our chief engineers and architects to understand where they think the future is going. And like I said, it's all about making bets. Sometimes you make the wrong bets, and hopefully most of the time you make the right bets. But the important thing is sticking to those bets because the life cycle of semiconductors are so long.
Do you miss being an engineer?
Do I miss being an engineer? Sometimes. Sometimes I miss being an engineer. But I have the luxury of being able to go into the labs and see what we're doing at any given time. So that's fun.
You have a lot of them around you.
Yes.
And how has the background of being an engineer, how has it helped and maybe hindered in some ways your transition into being a CEO?
Well, I think for tech companies, having some intuition about what you were trying to do is helpful, and so certainly for me, it's been helpful. I've had to learn about the business on the job, and so I've made sort of my share of mistakes doing that. But fundamentally, understanding, I thought what the major said was interesting. Like flying is a great equalizer. Like I think engineering is a great equalizer, right? Because either the product works or it doesn't work. There's no in between. That's sort of how I look at it.
Okay, I'm gonna switch to a slightly tougher topic for you, for all of us, I think, today, which is China and the trade war. So. You had started back in 2016, you had started a joint venture in China to license your technology there. And that was that organization, that joint venture was blacklisted by our government just this summer. I think we're all very, we think about Huawei and maybe a few other companies, but there are many companies that have been impacted by this. So what does this turn of events mean for that joint venture and for the future of your business overall in China?
When you look at U.S.-China relations, it is a very, very complex topic, and we do maybe 30% of our business in China, so it's a large market for us. And the way we think about it is, look, the world is different today than it was 4 or 5 years ago. I think the thoughts around how do you balance both access to the market, which is one of the largest markets in the world, but also the fact that there are national security concerns as it relates to high tech. And for our case, we're making some of the most powerful processors in the world, and we want to make sure they're used for good things. And so, it's an adjustment, but it's an adjustment that we are, very prepared to make. And the most important thing is, to make sure that we're focused on, our strengths, which are, around high performance computing.
So if you take a step back, though, I mean, do you think that we should be at this moment exporting computing technology, computing power to China to begin with?
Well, I think there are lots of different things that we do trade with China on, and there are certain aspects of our technology that are really, really special. And we should protect those really, really special things as much as possible, and then realize that for leadership in the U.S. markets, we still need access to the largest markets in the world.
Where do you, so 2 questions, I guess. Where do you see or hope things are going if you look into your crystal ball? And then the other question, you can answer whichever one you want first, but I think, obviously one of the hardest things with the current climate and the trade war is the uncertainty and the unpredictability of these twists and turns. And so how do you lead through that, especially at a company that it has very direct, large impact?
Well, I think what's really exciting to me is there's just so much you can do with technology, and there's so many applications that we can address. Whether we talk about sort of very geeky stuff, but if you think about what we can do to transform medicine and education and address climate change and all of these things, you really need powerful computers, and that's what we build. And so that's the really exciting thing. And then your second question about just how do we navigate these waters? I think we're all in the same place, right? We're all in the same place. Like every day we wake up and there could be something different that you're addressing. And that's the life of a CEO or a senior executive. And I think we get used to that. One of the things that I'm most focused on is ensuring that we are very agile as a company. Like, we have 10,000 people. It's not a small company, but it's not a huge company. And the idea is how can we make 10,000 people be able to turn on a dime as market conditions change and as, as customer needs change.